So I learned a long time ago, when you're giving a presentation, find a way to lower expectations. So now I'm following Beyonce, so no matter what happens, we'll manage expectations that way. How many of you were here for the last talk from Patrick Campbell okay, perfect. Patrick's great. He's kind of like my Beyonce. He talked a lot about, you can see the similarities, right? He talked a lot about rising costs, customer acquisition costs, et cetera, running a business, growing a business, rising costs. I want to get to that, but I think of presentations, especially on topics that are B2B related, and I want to kind of take a Quentin Tarantino approach to the presentation. So we will get back to customer acquisition costs, but we're going to talk about some other things first. And again, I think everyone remembers Quentin's famous phrase, "Don't let rising CAC get you down." I'm lying, he never said it. So let's start with illusions, right? The idea of illusions, and this is a famous illusion. And the idea of this illusion, the Trexler effect, is that when you see something, there's a difference between looking at it and paying attention to it, right? And based on the Trexler effect, depending on what you're looking at, if you're just looking at it and staring at it, you'll notice that things just go out of focus, right? So by looking at something, things will totally go out of focus. You'll lose sight of the surroundings, the context. But if you pay attention, it's slightly different, right? Things come into focus. And that's not just true for business, right? Think about when you share information online. We've all read the data. 60% of the stuff that you share, you've actually never read, right? And if you think of the US, right, and we think of our politicians, and please note, this is not a political statement. I put Donald Trump in the middle, not to the left or to the right, for a purpose. But, I mean, even with our political leaders, sometimes we either accept everything they say, carte blanche, or we just deny and refuse to accept everything that they say, carte blanche. And we're making these quick decisions, right? And look at all these people. Think of the people you meet and how quickly you form opinions on people and judge them. And I bet some of you are judging some of these people right now, fairly quickly. And it's incredible because right now we have more information at our fingertips than we'd ever had before. We have great power. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. With great power comes great responsibility. And the first thing I want to talk about is, are you taking your great superpower, the technology, the information, the access that you have to make yourself a better and more informed person with great responsibility? Are you following through? In a startup, we think about, in all companies we think about it, but with startups we think about work-life balance. And I want to pause on that for a second because we have it wrong. We should be thinking about life-work balance, right? But when you work in a startup, it's really hard to delineate between the two, right? Can we all agree on that? Can I get an amen like we're in church? Amen, perfect. Wow, folks. So look, when we're at startups, we're really trained to process information quickly. We talk about speed, right? So it's headlines, it's top lines, it's bottom lines, right? And when we do that, we're looking at things a lot, but we're not paying attention, right? We're looking at data points, but we're not paying attention to people. That's one of the biggest problems with growth. It's one of the biggest problems with marketing. It's one of the biggest problems in business in general. And it's true, we're not thinking about people. In a survey recently run, less than one third of the people in this room think about the people who come to their site or to their app or to their product as people. You call them customers, you call them visitors, you call them everything but people. We dehumanize it. And we know more and more that the customer experience is the most important thing. And it's not the customer experience, it's your customer's experience, right? That is supremely important. And when we dehumanize, at the end of the day, just like any illusion, we end up missing the point. So, it's unhealthy, right? That's a meat pie. I've heard that's important in Australia. Also pretty unhealthy, just by the look of it. So Patrick, this is Patrick's slide. Customer acquisition costs are rising. Really hard to run and grow a business. Thank you, Profit Well. Customer acquisition costs are rising. Let's talk about it. So let's go. My name's Suneet Bhatt. Who cares? I've worked at a bunch of these companies. Before this, before Chartbeat at the bottom there, was part of a private equity team that turned around and sold a $100 million business. Between these companies, I've raised a total of about $45 million in the US, turned around one company, rescued one from a decline, and took one from a transactional 2x multiple to a 6x multiple on the fundraise. Done some cool things on the side, my side hustle. I write kids' books about social issues. If you want to talk about CrazyEgg or you want to talk about kids' books, I'm down, and I'll buy you a drink for it. Again, so irrelevant. So there's this company called Nonfiction Research in the US, right? And they wrote this piece a few months ago. The Secret Financial Lives of Americans. Eliminate the Americans. Just like you should read it, right? Don't worry about the fact that we're in Australia and I'm talking about Americans, right? Within 24 to 36 hours of publishing the report, first research report they'd written, they were covered by all of these sort of incredible organizations, right? And here's why. Here are the data points. 52% of people admit to having cried because they don't have enough money. 37% of people have gone to sleep hungry because they didn't have enough money. 44% of people couldn't handle a $400 emergency, right, without borrowing. Didn't mean to depress you, right? But after all that talk about money, here's the part about paying attention that I think is really interesting. 64% of people who have a financial advisor feel like they don't have somebody to talk to about money. Think about that, right? 64% of people with financial advisors, somebody they pay to manage their money, are unsatisfied and feel like they don't have somebody to talk to about money. That's an attention issue, right? So we talk about startup life. There's a hustle. Like right now, being a customer sucks, right? Why is customer acquisition cost rising? We dropped the ball. In the US, this is a basketball. I adjusted it for you all. So when do we stop paying attention to the people who are paying attention to us? Past 20 years, by the way, 1998 is kind of my business birthday, like I'm an old man, right? For the past 20 years, the answer to growing a business was turning up the dial. That's what you do. You just do more of stuff. You send more email, you spend more money on advertising, you make people spend more money on you, you post more on social, you write longer posts, just keep turning up the dial. That was the answer, right? Because we were seeking attention versus paying attention, right? And the pendulum has swung so wildly in the direction of companies seeking attention, right? So far away from paying attention, right? That if you think of you as a business, this is what it feels like with your customers. It is all about the chase as opposed to being about the duty and your responsibility to pay attention to and take care of your customers. That's about you two, all of us. It's everyone. And that's why customer acquisition costs are rising. And it doesn't matter what kind of company you are. You can be a startup. You can be an old brick and mortar business. You can be e-commerce. You can be software. It doesn't matter. It's getting harder to acquire customers. And there are other reasons, right? I mean, that world, though, right, is making it harder. There's 7,000 marketing technology solutions out there. Also, I hate this slide. Everybody uses that slide, and I hate it, but then I had to use it. So I thought of another way of visualizing it, right? Since K-pop had their first concert in Australia in 2011, I did some research. There have been 3.1 new marketing technology companies every day. 3.1 new technology companies every day since K-pop. I blame K-pop. But it's not just tech, right? There are 543,000 new businesses started every month in the US. So you have technology competing for people's attention, and you have more competition, just more businesses, right? And people are just fighting for attention. It's Charlie Puth. And customers are juggling, right? Like time, attention, there's too much to do, there's too much to pay attention to. There's no place to hide, folks. Like that dial for the past 20 years, This is what it's done. Nobody trusts you as a company. Nobody trusts your marketing. Nobody trusts your press releases. I'm a marketing and sales person. Nobody trusts me. Why? Because the dial is broken. That's the truth. So now what, right? There's a lot about customer success and customer support, right? You're hearing a lot about customer success, customer support, like making the second sale, how do you grow your business? These are all the things you're hearing, right? And people think that because they're like, you know what? If I can make my customers pay attention to me, I will be elite, right? Here's what elite looks like in tech. If somebody comes to your app 2 to 3 times a month, you're better than average. Are you building something so somebody comes to your product more like once every 10 days? Probably not. 7.6 times, you're elite. Twice a week, right? Mixed panel data, good stuff, right? And so it's certainly not hard to feel elite because everybody in this room feels elite because this is a great data point, right? 95% of people say that their partner is smarter, more attractive, warmer, and funnier than average. You all figure out the math, right? So it's not hard to feel elite. Our customers are not making the most of our solutions. Look, twice a month, 7 times a month, that's how we build stuff, right? But the more important question, the bigger question is, are we making the most of our customers' attention? Right? Customer acquisition cost is rising. Headline, top line, bottom line, right? The truth is, you can only grow the customers you have. Customer success, customer support, all these models only work if you actually have customers to work with. We can't abandon customer acquisition, right? So it comes down to one even more basic principle. For me, everyone's talking about artificial intelligence, everyone's talking about augmented reality, virtual reality. For any of that stuff to work, there's a much more basic principle that everybody here can apply. Just pay attention, folks. Just pay attention. And you will be elite. In your market, you will be elite if you pay attention, right? Make the most of every person who experiences your site. Every person who experiences your product, make the most of every one of those people, right? 7,000 plus companies, it brought me to tears when I heard that as well. It's not about the tech, folks, it's about you. Growth will be driven by your time and attention. All right? Okay. So what? Let's look at some more data, right? What are the leading priorities concerning marketing technology success for companies worldwide, right? These are the things that folks want to do. Increase marketing ROI, improve marketing efficiency, attribute revenue, differentiate. Does everybody agree that these are some of the things that you'd want to do if you're running a company? Sound about right? Conversion rate optimization, the idea of paying attention to the customers coming to your site, to the people coming to your site, conversion rate optimization has the highest ROI of any marketing investment you will make. Bottom line, it's just the truth. So, how come only 1.7% of budget goes to it? %. Here's why. 41%, less than half of marketers are doing something that can be considered conversion rate optimization or paying attention. 1 in 4 people, right, are actually looking at customers and seeing where they're not converting. They're looking at people and seeing what they're failing at. Everybody's heard we learn a lot more from our mistakes. Only 1 in 4 of us even cares why people aren't moving forward. We're so excited about the conversions, we don't stop to pay attention to why people aren't. And so why does this stuff go up? Why do customer acquisition costs go up? We got lazy, right? We lost focus. We kept getting saved. There was always like a new channel. There was a new Facebook or a new LinkedIn or a new Twitter or CRM retargeting. There was always something new. So as soon as something got hard, we jumped to the new thing. It's not working anymore. There's too much competition. We basically stopped paying attention. Hip hop reference. OPC, other people's content. Everybody in this room is more likely to go read a post somebody else has written about their customers than to stop and take time and pay attention to their own customers, to look at a dashboard about how their own customers are behaving. You're more likely to look at somebody else's customers than you are to look at your own. Guess what? Chicken butt. Customer acquisition cost is, I love that slide. Customer acquisition cost is rising, right? It's our fault, it's our choices. That's why this stuff is happening. It's nobody's fault, it's not the industry's fault. It's our choices, which means we can make it better, right? And technology is not gonna make it better. Adopting more technology is not gonna make it better. We've already proven that you're not using the technology you have. The software solutions you purchase, you're not using. New tech isn't gonna make it better. It's just gonna create more distractions. This is about you, this is about your time, this is about your attention. There's no cavalry coming, folks. This is what the cavalry would look like, so thank God it's not coming, right? And there's nobody standing there with a life preserver. There's no new channel coming to save you. There's no new magical place where you can go and put your money that's gonna help you acquire new customers quickly. It's not coming because you've got 7,000 new technologies there to capitalize it, 543,000 new businesses a month to compete with you for it. Even when something new comes out, it's saturated. Think of conversational marketing and that little chat bot. 12 to 18 months, they're ubiquitous. There's nothing new coming to save you, folks, right? You can lower your customer acquisition cost. You can lower your cost of goods sold by doing one thing. Just care, just pay attention. If you want to turn up a dial, turn up the attention dial. Some attention and more attention. There's a new dial in town. There's hope. So we ran some experiments, right? We stopped all our marketing, we stopped sending emails, like we turned off emails, we turned off everything, and we just went into our application, and as soon as customers hit a point where there was a moment of insight, we just said, hey, can we help you with this? We did it to 3,500 customers. 82% were like, yes, help me. 82%, 3,500 customers, right? Then we screwed it up because only 10% took the next step. So we should have paid attention to that. But I was really excited about that first 3,500. And all we did was in the context of the app. We didn't send them a text message. We didn't send them an SMS. I didn't call their mom. Like, we didn't do any of that stuff. Just in the context of the app, we tried to be helpful. And 82% responded. There's more hope, right? So I was like, let's hop on the phone. So we just put an alert in the app and said, okay, 30-minute consult with CrazyEgg. Just gonna help you with your website, help you with your app, help you with your website. In 5 months, we talked to 350 companies. Inside of 10 minutes, we had a material recommendation for each one about something that would be transformative about an aspect of their customer experience. 10 minutes. I knew nothing about the companies. All I did was look at what their customers were doing and weren't doing and gave them a suggestion. Who here has 10 minutes? Does anybody here have 10 minutes? Nobody here has 10 minutes? You don't have 10 minutes and you're giving me 25? Priorities. Customers want your help, not your sales pitches. Folks, this is not hard. It's just paying attention, right? Right? It's not hard to be elite these days. We talked about it. 95% of you are better than average. I'm part of the 5%. To increase ROI these days, it's not hard. To stand out from the competition these days, it's not hard. Just pay attention, right? And then do something. That's the difference, right? You will be inspired. If you spend time looking at your customers, looking at the people who are paying attention to you, you will find inspiration. We did. And again, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? This is what people say when I ask them. We did a survey, 1,000 people. Tell me why you're not paying more attention to your customers. This is the stuff people say. They're scared. It causes me anxiety to do that. This is somebody who runs a product. They should be fired. I don't feel like taking the time to update my website because I think it's good as it is. Let's not be scared, but let's not be arrogant, right? I'd say it's a combination of reasons. I love that. This is like when I negotiate with my daughter. There's always multiple reasons, right? A lot of the analytics softwares are costly, not true. One quick plug, CrazyEgg, $1 a day, not a lot of money. Sure, some are free, lower cost, but everything adds up. Another is hassle or being busy with other things other than my website. This was somebody who runs a website. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. I'm responsible for updating the website, but I also have a lot of other responsibilities that prevent me from spending time looking at my site analytics. Does that make sense to you? They're updating it, they're responsible for the website, but they can't look at numbers about the website. It doesn't make any sense. We're finding excuses. So let's make this concrete, right? One takeaway. I'm gonna ask everybody in this room to run this experiment for 30 days, and I guarantee it'll be the most impactful thing you do for your business. One time a week, I want you to spend 5 minutes looking at your app, your area of responsibility, your product, your website. 5 minutes, once a week, aggregate level macro data. If it's Google Analytics, if it's a heat map, if it's a scroll map, 5 minutes looking at aggregate data about your website. I then want you to spend 10 minutes watching users in their element. You can interview, you can survey, you can watch user recordings, you can do a sales call. 10 minutes a week, one time a week. And then the other 15 minutes, I guarantee you'll be inspired to do something. This isn't about tweaking dials. This is about finding inspiration and loving your job because you see the pain or the opportunity that the people who are experiencing your brand feel. 30 minutes. Sorry, that's not a picture. 30 minutes, one time a week for a month. The most impactful thing you can do for your business. That's your superpower. Spider-Woman, not Spider-Man. That's your superpower, folks. You have access to incredible amounts of information, incredible technology. You get visibility into your customers like you could not believe. You're wasting your superpower. Troxler effect. The difference between looking versus paying attention. Looking at a dashboard is not paying attention to your customers, folks. Pay attention to your customers. This is my dad. This is my dad's shirt. Super wrinkled. I don't remember when my dad wore it. I don't remember it ever being wrinkled, which tells you that even articles of clothing respect my dad more than they respect me. That's my dad. That's an example of paying attention. This isn't just about like work, folks. We talked about life-work balance. Like, pay attention. We were having a party. There were 50 people in the house. I turned around. My dad's lying down next to my daughter, staring at her. This is paying attention. This is my model for paying attention. Make time for the people who are paying attention to you. So every night before I go to bed, every night before my kids go to bed, we have this back and forth, right? I say, how much do I love you? And they say, more than anything. I say, how long will I love you? I say, more than forever. And I say, when will I stop? And they say, never. A couple minutes every day, and my kids know that I'm paying attention, and I will be doing so forever. Startup life, customer life, it's just life, folks. If you want to grow any relationship you have, pay attention to who's paying attention to you. I got a minute left. That's it.